You can move that.
Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in. Tonight, I have a person who I just adore to pieces. You know her from being on the show before, but also she spoke at for 2 years in a row at the DC Medicare for All events. So, Reverend Annie, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And may I ask, I haven't seen you in a white beret before. Is there significance?
No, it just happened to be what I grabbed today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just what I grabbed today to put on. It's sort of cool here, so this is a sweater, and I put
Yeah,
on.
yeah, it's the weather is beautiful.
Yeah,
Ian told me some of what you're going through, and he wrote that article today as far as your housing. Let's talk about that. So this, I know we've talked about your mutual aid before. You get up every morning and do food and make soup and stuff like that to help people who are in need. Um, so you provide food and household items to those who need it by your house every morning, and now you are facing eviction because of it.
yes, yes. I'm faced. They sent a letter saying that I have to get rid of all my food and you know, have to basically clean all the food out of the pantry. They came in, they did a house walkthrough, and they looked at my house. And then she said, "Well, I'm not saying your house is not clean. I'm saying it's over cluttered, and especially for a woman your age." Um,
Wow.
she, basically said, "We need you to get. You have to get rid of all the food, the bins and the stuff on shelves." And they sent me a letter because I wanted it in writing. Because people would say, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, I wanted it in writing for one thing," and I do have it in writing. That if I don't, then they will proceed to make procedures to evict me out of
And how
out of
long
my
have you
house.
lived at your residence?
Well, this particular residence, I've been here, excuse me now, for 12 years. But the food
Wow.
pantry started when the beginning of COVID. And our only supermarket we had in there earlier shut down. So the people had no food. There was nowhere for them to go get, if you didn't have a car, which the next food market, I guess, is maybe 15 to maybe 20 miles away
Oh,
from
wow.
where we live at, right? And so people, you can't carry but so much on a bus. and
Sure.
there were elderly people, so we had this problem. And besides that, it was the COVID. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and so they didn't have money to even buy the food. Then when you get to the supermarkets that we could get to, the food was sky high. When they
Right.
charging for small eggs $8 a dozen,
Yeah.
you know. So that was how the food pantry came about. And my thing was to help people have food and household items. Like at one time, it was like people was fighting over toilet paper. People
Right.
was couldn't get toothpaste. People couldn't get household items to clean their houses with. So a laundry detergent, just plain a bar of soap. And so
Right.
those were things I set about getting to help my community with, and been doing it ever since. And now it has become a, well, they tried to stop me when I first started. Let's remember that. They, threatened to throw me in jail then. Now they're threatening me with evictions for doing just the same thing, which is people having food and being able to pick it up. Somebody will come to me and say, and you don't have to fill out nothing or anything. Just say I need it, and say, Reverend, I don't have food for the night. Sure, come on. We got this, we got that. You can make dinner for your children or breakfast or whatever. People come to me for things like eggs, bread, you know, uh, canned goods, any canned vegetables, all kinds of things like that. Or maybe, do you have any toothpaste you can, let me have? Or do you have mouthwash, soap powder, anything, laundry detergent? Those are things that I give to the people, even down to baby diapers, even down to depends. Okay, these are things that people need. People don't have the money. Some people have no money, no way to get them. So these were things I got donated, got out, and really begged and donated for the people. Now, you know, they there's no way in my development they would even give me a place to keep food.
Right.
So where else? And I'm gonna keep it, but in my house.
Right.
But now all of a sudden, that's the other way to try to get me evicted. But the truth of the matter is that I live in Douglas Homes in Baltimore City. That's right across from John Hopkins Hospital. John Hopkins have already um acquired about buying Douglas Homes. Janice Abraham is selling off public housing wholesale. The housing authority. She's the public housing commissioner for Baltimore City. So my thing is to fight for people that, number one, to have a place to live. If you sell in our development, then people have a right to say where they want to live. Don't move them to another development that you're going to sell in 6 months. They
Yep.
moving people around like checkers, and they doing anything they can to get people put out of public housing, and then they don't have to deal with them at all. Well, I have been a complete advocate fighting for people to stay in public housing. So that's what the problem is. As she has said, Reverend Chambers is a pain in my ass. That's the way she put it. Okay. And I'm glad that I'm a pain in her ass. I hope I'll be a pain all over her. Because, you know, my thing is to fight for people. Ever since I've been in the movement, I've always fought for what's right. You understand? And um, from welfare rights to the Black Panthers, we, We have always stood up for what's right and for people to have somewhere. And right now in Baltimore City, we got more homeless families than we've ever had in our life.
Mhm.
In the history of this city, we got more homeless families. I'm not talking about single. We count the single people in and it'd be quadruple, but just families, mothers and children, mother, father, and children are on the street because people can't afford the rents, and people can't afford all the stuff that go with even trying to have a home. And so to get rid of all the public housing, where do we go? Where do we stand? So I have gone back to my
Absolutely.
old black man, but they stand up and fight back.
Mm.
Absolutely. How do you think they found out, so to speak, that you have, canned goods and stuff? Do you think why do you think they were alerted? Do you think they just don't want people congregating outside your house? Do you think it's a neighbor? Do you think it's gentrification? What do you think?
Well, it is common knowledge that if you need some sword, go to Reverend Ann and she got it.
Right.
I mean, people come and ask me for bottles of water
Right.
because the water system here is so bad. They will come and say, I mean, you come in my house now, you see water in my refrigerator, water upside the wall, water, just can we have a couple of bottles of water? And some people even request, I want cold water. Okay. But I try to have those things. Uh, I don't have nothing for breakfast. Reverend Andy, can you give me a dozen of eggs? You know, so it's known that you can come to my house and get, food. You can come to my house and I'm gonna find something for you to wear. Clothing. People, I just had a baby, Reverend. But what kind of baby clothes you got around there? Or I ran out of Pampers. You know, or the seniors will, say, I need help. With they depends. So okay, we got it. We give it.
Mhm.
Um, Now the manager knows this. Everybody live in Douglas knows this. Actually, everybody downtown know it. But then they sent someone in to take pictures of my house. They sent someone in to take pictures and look around in my house.
Mm.
And that was after that, that was the conclusion. You got too much in your home. Well, where do I keep it? I'm not a rich person. I can't afford storage.
Right. Is there maybe, see, I was going to say maybe there's a church, but then you have to keep people bring it to you. You got to get it to the church.
It would be wonderful if it was a church.
You know, look.
Yeah.
I've been looking
Mhm.
and talking, and the churches are not, and I know my name is Reverend Annie, but churches are not friendly to people. I'm be truthful. Very few. Now there's you know,
What St. Vincent de Paul?
St. Vincent de
Yeah, and they
Paul
do a lot.
have done a lot with me
But
and helping me,
they're about miles.
work. But then
Yeah,
that's miles away
yeah.
from
Oh,
where I'm at. That's miles away. The other churches have you go talk to them because I have talked to. We have two churches close, and I even talked to them about let's having a meeting with the people.
Mm.
No, no, they don't. We can't open our doors for this, or we can't do that, or we doing that, but they giving people like they said we giving people vegetables. They don't even give the people a decent head of cabbage, a little small head of cabbage, maybe two pieces of corn,
Mm.
and maybe four potatoes, and then they got this big old box like they done gave you a box of food.
Mm.
So these are
wow.
the things that's going to my. We do the vegetable boxes or those sort of things. I would love for someone else to come and help. That would be great. you know.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, it's not being done. And the people in the community that's helping me now being attacked because they helping me,
Right.
give out the food. They you know, it is a big the thing is to get me out. That's the push of public housing first, to get me out so that they program
Hmm.
um can go on as they wanted to go. That is to close down public housing. But Reverend Annie has been around a long time. And for everybody who don't know it, since I was called old, Reverend Annie is 83 years old. And I feel stronger than I did when I was 18 years old. Because maybe you could have got some things over on me when I was 18 that you definitely won't get over on me now. Okay? And I will fight even if I'm on the street. I will still fight this system. I will fight this system no matter what. So I know that this is going to come to a head where I'll be in court, and whatever I have said to other people, I have really given it up to God. But I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm supposed to do. One of the things as a Black Panther, one of the oath of all the Black, and I will just share this little part because we ain't supposed to share, uh, is we fight till the end. And when is the end? When we're laid out. We're laid out. When y'all cremate Reverend Annie, okay? That's the end for me. But until then, I will always be, I will always be a pain in her ass or anybody's ass. That's fine.
Yeah.
I will fight for poor people, working class people until that day. And far as being 83 years old, my mind is more sharper now than ever. Than ever.
Absolutely.
You know? And so, to come into my house and say, a woman your age, I hope that poor little child get to be my age.
Hmm.
Okay. But I know one thing, the only thing that don't work on me is my legs. Everything else work just fine. And my mind is, real
Yeah.
sharp. If you can let Feeble Joe run the United States, I know Reverend Andy Chambers can run a food pantry. When you got Feeble Minded Joe running the United States of America, and I looked at Bernie the other day and laughed because he was thinking talking about running. Now Annie know what she can do. I know what I'm charged with. So that's where we're at with that right now.
Mhm.
Is there anything we can do? Is there, I mean, can we do a petition? Can we call them? Is there anything we can do?
Yeah. Um Before that's what happened with the food pantry before, was
Mhm.
they got a big outcry from people, and they backed off. And so I think now we should, but also I want people to get this, you know, we need to start a real movement fighting for housing. We
Yes.
need a real housing movement. So, to a petition or calling Baltimore City, yes, that would help.
Okay. I will talk
Mhm.
to Ian after this. I'll type something up. I'll see if we can, get some petitions started, because I want to help any way I can, and I'm sure people, once they hear about this, will definitely help out. Also, is there a way to donate to the pantry?
Yes, go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, Reverend Chambers has a website. It's anniechambers.org. Anniechambers.org. So people go there,
Awesome.
they'll see all kinds of ways to donate, things that we still need if you want to order something and send it or drop it off. And there's also her contact information, is other ways to get involved. And we
Yes,
want to hear from people, if you are experiencing this in your own city, because this is happening nationwide. They're selling off public housing all over the place. So
Yeah,
we
yes.
want to hear from folks as well.
absolutely. I will be on it.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so
Um,
much.
Thank
Absolutely. One of the other things I wanted to talk to you about, Reverend Annie, you're not on Twitter, which is such a good idea. I'm jealous. Um, in on in Twitter land, there's this big, debate going on the past week, and it's gone on before. But essentially, some people are saying that Fred Hampton worked with the KKK, that the Black Panthers worked with known racists, known white supremacists because of the Rainbow Coalition. As someone who is a Black Panther, knew Fred Hampton, knew Malcolm, and was there and actually knows the truth, can you speak to that?
Yes, I can. First of all, it would be a joke. And let me just get this out the way right away. I don't know any Black Panther that ever worked with the KKK except one. That's Reverend Annie. That's Reverend Annie. And that was years and years later. Uh, and I don't know whether you heard me tell the story about, you know, how I got to work with the KKK. Um, and
No, I haven't heard that story.
oh,
so
okay,
yeah.
okay. In Nevada, there were a time the governor cut off all checks, all social services checks, all welfare checks, and we got a call from Nevada at the time. Ruby Duncan was the president there of welfare rights, their chapter. So welfare rights organizations from all over the country, all over, all over this country. If there was a welfare rights chapter, we asked, we would go support each other. So I came from Baltimore, and people came from New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit, everywhere, everywhere, right? And to we was going to have a big demonstration, and we were deciding what to do. Well, when all the welfare checks was cut off, that meant it cut off all the Klan people checks too, right? And we was in this church, and we was in a big old church, and across from the church was another church. We were not quite as big. It was like all these white people was in there, and we were a mixed group, right? And so my thing was, why are we separate from the white people over there? And they laughed because I asked the question. I really didn't know it was the Klan. They told me though. They said, "Oh, that's the Klan over there," and I don't know what they're gonna do. Well, my thing was, ain't nobody gonna get no checks if we don't get none. So
Right.
I went over to the church and walked in, and everybody in the church looked at me, and the grand dragon was up by the pulpit, and he used the N word and said, "What you want?" And I looked at him and I told him who I was and that I wasn't the N word, okay? But I was there to talk to them about welfare checks because you're not going to get none either. They cut their women checks off too, right? Cut their families off too. So he listened, and the people listened. I said, we may have to fight afterwards, but right now, our common enemy is the governor. And so they decided to join the demonstration. And in that demonstration were Ku Klux Klans and the Grand Dragon and Annie was out front. We were we got locked up. We went to stores and got food and didn't pay for it. Just rolled the cat on out and told them charge the governor. And we got locked up. We went to the casinos. And because we was in Las Vegas, we went to the casinos and let our children run wild and we ordered food and we ate the food and told them the same thing, charge the governor. We shut down the strip and then came in, who owned the strip now. We know that the gangsters own the strip. They told the governor, look, get them people them damn checks. And at the end of the demonstration, the Grand Dragon said to me, you are right with me. Now, that's the only uh, Panther I know worked with the Klan was Annie. Because the other women in
Wow.
welfare rights were not, you know, a lot of them weren't Panthers in the first place. But you know what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
no, I'm Fred Hampton had, let me tell you, Fred was a stern brother. You understand? Fred when I say stern, he held to what he said. Okay, Minister Malcolm, I dare somebody to say, Malcolm, this is what Minister Malcolm put into us, and that's what made me where I felt the way I did. Though there's love in everybody, but you always walk with respect and demanded your respect. Demand that you get respect. You don't give nobody power over you. When you bow down, you allow someone else to see. He said, only bow down to the Creator, only bow down to Allah. But if you bow down to anything else, then you have already given them power over you. Even if he said, what can they do with and the question was asked, well, they can kill you. He said, can't you kill them? They can do no more to do than you allow them to do. You look all through the history of the civil rights movement. How many of the Muslims you known to get killed? Because they knew that they were ready to fight back. They would fight back, and we weren't going to back up. He said, while you down there praying, getting beat to death, that means you have given them the power. Now that's Minister Malcolm's teaching, but he always taught us love. I there are people can say things about Reverend Annie, but you don't know Reverend Annie. So come and know me. Once you know me, then you can make your own decision, right? But if you just listen to what someone else have said or you make that conclusion, then you don't, And Minister Malcolm always taught us that. Brother Fred, on the other hand, have always said, we will stand up and die before we allow them to oppress us. That, but to say that about Brother, Fred is wrong. Um, as a matter of fact, even we had other races of people that came around the Panthers, and they would say, "Well, we want to be a part of the Black Panthers." And he would say, "No, you can't be a Black Panther. But what we can do is support each other." So the Klan ain't come and say they wanted to be a part of or even support us. So that would be
Right.
the biggest lie ever told. You know, that was he wasn't a nationalist. Like there were some nationalist brothers and sisters in the Black Panthers, but Brother Fred Hampton was not one. He seen good in everybody, except he would say, "You have to go back and deal with your community to let them see that I'm a human being like theirs. I'm a man." If you listen to some of Fred's speeches, he always said, "I'm a man. I'm a man." That was his thing. That was his cry. "I'm a man." He didn't say a black man or what. He wanted you to know that he was the creator. The creator had created him as a man and that he stood up. So those, you know, Minister, and let me say this about Minister Malcolm. Minister Malcolm told us this because he started out being a nationalist. Remember, he was a product of um, Elijah Muhammad, okay? And who was taught some things that he found out was wrong, and he said, and he let us know they were wrong. He said, "I seen Muslims of all colors and, you know, of all races. And I seen people with love in their heart for human beings all around the world."
Hmm.
And he instilled that in us. Those of us who wanted to say we were nationalists, he said, "No, you don't. That's not what you need to be."
Could I add something in? Would that be all right?
Yeah, of course.
There is, uh, if you look up on Wikipedia and other sites, not that that's a great reference, but this is a well-known storming Caesar's palace is what the name of the event was that Reverend Chambers is describing in 1971.
Yes.
There is a new documentary about this called Storming Caesar's Palace about Ruby Duncan.
Right.
And they leave out the fact that the Klan was in the march. But if you watch it, it shows historic footage of the time, and you could see there are men standing in it that are Klan men. Now, they weren't in Klan robes, right?
No.
They
No,
were
because that
marching
was
side
part of
by
the
side. They were
agreement. No.
marching peacefully. Yeah, there was an agreement that they wouldn't be in Klan robes. They wouldn't be intimidating. But they did march in that march.
And then where you see a whole group of men, there's a little short, heavy set woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. That's me. That's me
That's
with the
so amazing.
granddaughter. Right. So now. If they want to talk about that,
Yeah.
I don't make that no secret. I think I tell it. You know,
Yeah.
because I know
Yeah.
people. You got to know people, and once you get to know people, then I've gotten some of the best friends
Yeah.
out of racism.
This has come up a lot. That's why I just wanted to interject there because I want
Yes.
people
Yeah.
to be able to look it up. There's historic
Yes.
footage about it now, and people keep removing it. We're just trying to tell the story accurately.
Right.
Right, absolutely. So there's also, this presumption that that's how the Rainbow Coalition started. So did the Rainbow Coalition then start based on class?
The Rainbow Coalition. Now, let me how I say. You understand? I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm just laughing
I'm
about some
asking
things.
questions people ask me to ask.
No, right, right. Okay, right. The Rainbow Coalition was a group of young people, really, first. Okay, they were a group of young people who wanted to be in the movement, wanted things, Um, Jesse,
Mhm.
Reverend Jackson,
Mhm.
seen the opportunity to have a following, and he the one gathered up the Rainbow Coalition. Now, when you talk about class, that's all just poor people in quite a few of the movements were always the workers and pushed to the back. And when the history be told, it's just like I look at the Poor People's Campaign, the very first Poor People's Campaign. They never really tell the whole history of how it really came up, how it really flourished and got as big as it did.
Mm.
Poor people, welfare rights. Reverend King didn't know what to do, how to get people. But you again, let me tell you, I went in mountains, Kentucky, Tennessee, all up in the Appalachians, all up in West Virginia, pulling out people. Now I'm talking about what kind of people up there. A lot of those people are white, right? But they came out because there were problems. See, he was just thinking it was in the deep, deep South, poverty. But poverty is all over this country. And I brought people to the Poor People's Campaign along with Marion Kramer, along with all the women from welfare rights, because Reverend Keys and them told Dr. King when they kept trying to get it together, they really couldn't get it together. That's the truth. This is the truth. They said, them welfare rights women, um, you need to go get them and ask them to help us. Well, now bear in mind, it had just been a couple of months we had tried to get Dr. King to help us with the White House, get us in the White House talking about poverty, and Dr. King didn't do it. Dr. King didn't
Wow.
do it.
Wow.
Thelma?
Johnny, one of the women in welfare rights, cussed us out. I mean, we must have cussed on each other all night long, talking about what we was gonna work with the Poor People's Campaign. But we decided there was a way for us to get welfare rights also. In and so
Johnny Tillman.
Johnny Tillman,
Okay.
Frankie Jeter, all of them, they were like, Johnny, Johnny said to Dr. King, hey Dr. King, where the hell you was? This way she said it. Dr. King, where the hell you was when we kept trying to get you to help us get up in the you know, because Johnny was just straight out person. She tell you like me.
Mhm.
Um, and it's smart. And so because we liked the Reverend Key and Albert Taylor and them who were men around Dr. King,
Mhm.
we decided, yes, we're gonna help organize the Poor People's Campaign. And so that's how the Poor People's Campaign really got pushed. And like I said, do you see any of that history when they talk about the Poor People's Campaign? No, they don't talk about Minister Malcolm and how he sacrificed and sent support and had help. But when you all the security for Dr. King, well, what you see standing on that stage? You see them Muslim brothers ready to get a life. That's Minister Malcolm's men. You see, all of that. See, I look at history the way I say this is history according to the way they want it,
Mm.
which is most of the time a lot of lies. But that's the history that they give, you know. Um, but we have to, and like I said, I'm 83, and there's a lot of people going on. I just say it to my friend Marion. I said, Marion, we need to put out some real stuff,
Mm.
real history, not just our memoirs and stuff like that, but put out the true history because we were there and we were in the fight.
Yeah.
They may have pushed us to the side, pushed us to the back when it got popular, but we the ones that helped make it. And that's the way it is with poor people all the time. We are always the foot soldiers. We're always the foot soldiers. And it has never bothered me because I think it's just in my blood to organize. It's in my blood to fight. So it has never, I don't care to be a leader. I can fight as long as I got the people. I can get people to the movement. Building the movement. So, you know, for them to, I don't know where these people coming from. Sometimes I read stuff and somebody said, "Oh, well, so and so did this," or you know, I, what's the last thing I hear that I really, really laughed about was about Bobby Seals. Bobby was a good person, nice person, but he wasn't the strongest man in the Black Panther. And I don't mean strength. And I don't mean strength. I mean another way. But somebody equated that to the Pampers wouldn't have been as strong as it wasn't Bobby. I looked at um, them saying some people that we know that were informers. We found out later that they were informers in the Black Panther Party. Okay, and we get um, I say to people, look. First of all, if you was a Black Panther, I would know another Panther whether I ever seen you, eh, first seen you, because we know each other. We have a way of knowing each other. We have a way of telling each other. There are people who were in the party who are now judges, lawyers, ministers, and everything else. But we have a way of knowing that.
Mm.
We know what to do, how to greet you, just like anything else. So, people who tell me, oh, I was in the party and I look at them and greet them in a certain way, and they don't know what I'm doing. They just think I'm being. I say to myself, now, honey, why you lying?
Mm.
Because you would know what I'm doing. You would know what I'm doing, you know. So you don't know, so because you weren't there, you were not a Panther. Now, there were people that hung around sometime, but to be
Right.
a true Black Panther, first of all, you black. Then you're gonna be black. I had a white brother tell me he was a Panther. I said, Lord have mercy. Okay, okay, brother, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, I was in the party. and and stuff like that. And I was in Philadelphia and he was telling me this story and I just laughed. But that we there, if you were a Black Panther ever, you're a Black Panther for life. That's number one. That's why I tell people now when they say former, I said, no, I'm not a former Panther, I'm a Panther. I tell these little young kids running around here now talking about the new Black Panther Party. I fall out laughing at them. As I told Farrakhan's son, I said, boy, go back and tell your daddy to find something else for you to do. Because you don't even know what you're doing. So but a true panther know another sister or brother. And we did get help and support from other races. Yes, we did. The Black Panther Party got help and support. One of our biggest supporters was Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Okay? One of our biggest supporters was Fidel Castro. And I know people don't, I had another pamper say, Annie, don't say that. But neither, I never could say the main name. Khrushchev. I don't know. I can't say his first name. From Russia.
Khrushchev. Okay.
Bernida. No, his name is but his last name is Khrushchev. He was then the president of Russia. Okay? Come on. We have to be truthful about where we got help from. Fidel Castro did more for the black movement than anybody I can really give credit to. And most black people don't know it and don't appreciate it. But Fidel Castro did a lot. He gave money both to Dr. King and Malcolm and the Black Panther Party. And he gave support in every hand, every hand.
And
So
you were able to speak with him several times on the phone, right?
to speak with him on the phone, oh no, I met him in person, honey.
Oh, that's
I've been to,
amazing.
yes, yes. Oh no. When they first sent me to Cuba and we talked, and his thing was, we need more super mamas like you. He thought it was the funniest thing that I had all these kids, but I was still in the movement, that I was, fighting. And like I tell the young people now, um, we learned a lot. We learned how to be jungle fighters from Fidel. We learned a lot of things, survival skills from Fidel. Um, Actually, he thought that black people should rise and have a revolution here, but Minister Malcolm said, no, we can't fight a revolution like the Cubans, like was fought in Cuba, because then we would be wiped out as a race. And he was right. We would be wiped out as a black race of people. But Fidel supported us and gave us a lot. Now, if they want to say Fred Hampton worked with Fidel Castro, yes. Tell them, yes, he did. George Jefferson, a whole lot of them. George Jackson, everybody, including myself. Because when they had a whole list of Black Panthers, they had a whole, Fidel and them had a whole plan set out for me and all my children. If they ever thought they was going to grab me and put me in prison, they was going to just snatch us and carry us to Cuba. As a matter of fact, he invited me to live in Cuba, but my kids did not want to go. My kids did not,
Wow.
they didn't want to go. And at that time, I was fascinated over my second husband, and so that played a big part in, us not living in Cuba. But because and then he, the educational system he offered to me for some of my sons and stuff. So um we when we talk about our party, and I'm talking about the Black Panther Party, the Black Panther Party was strong. The Black Panther Party had some serious people. Then you had some opportunists. Then you had again the spies. Then you had um, J. Edgar Hoover talking about how he could crush us, how he could get rid of, because we were the thorn in America's side for quite a while.
Mm.
And so it was how they could crush us and how they could kill us. But they used programs that we have until today. Nobody thought about the breakfast program except the Black Panther Party. We knew that our children couldn't learn anything being hungry. So I used to get up 2 o'clock in the morning so that I could have food ready by 6 for children to eat going to school, good hot breakfasts. Now, the free lunch program. We knew children couldn't sit there all day and be hungry. So we gave children food to carry to school. Okay? These were things that we did. We did the sickle cell program because nobody treated black people with sickle cell, and we are the ones with it. If you had sickle cell, you would consider being lazy or whatever, and just didn't want to work when people was in great pain. We had black doctors, and by the way, you know where those doctors came from that really identified sickle cell? Cuba. That's where they came from. Cuba, who identified it and showed that it was a disease that attacks our bodies. So these were things that the Black Panther Party, we didn't just run around and carry guns. But our thing was we was going to protect ourselves and to protect our community. And you didn't see drugs on every corner. You didn't see drug dealers standing out infecting our children. And you didn't see our children running around with guns. You didn't see our children ready to kill each other because in our schools that we taught conflict resolution. We taught how to get along together. These were things we taught our children. We taught our children about themselves and how to love themselves, how to feel beautiful within yourself, how to not disrespect the female, that how to not disrespect a senior, your elders. We taught children that in the schools, and you could see it. You could see the results of that with our children. So much so that, yeah, other people wanted their children to come to the freedom schools because these were things we taught our children. Children came home with respect and carried it throughout their communities. See, that's what the Black Panther Party was about. First, love and respect. Those were the things we taught our children. Now, some of us was in the church and some of us wasn't. But that didn't have anything to do with us coming together as a race of people finding love for each other and for other people, other races of people. We weren't taught to hate no race, but we said we got to get ourselves straight before we can invite somebody else in to help us get straight. We got to get ourselves straight. There was certainly, again, support from other races. Sometimes we didn't even have paper to print on, but we got it from other races. Sometimes we didn't, have any resources, but other people did help us. And these were not black people. Okay, they were not black people. But We wanted to teach respect and love to our people so that we could socialize with other races. So to say that about George is not true. No.
Do you think is there anyone right now in I mean people use the word revolutionary and it's usually not applicable. To be quite honest, you're the only living revolutionary I call a revolutionary that I know of. Um, do you think there are any legit revolutionaries right now?
Well, when we talk about revolution, and I always end my speeches with revolution, revolution now, revolution. Yeah, well, see, I think a lot of people has been co-opted and sold out, and a lot of people. But when I see people like you help building a revolution, baby. You understand? You're building a revolution. You're part of the revolution. When I see young people like Ian, revolution. When I see um, some of the brothers and sisters that I met in the Red Hat Society, revolution. When I see some of the people that's in the Communist Party, revolution. See, the revolution is not going to be one race or one group. It's going to be a revolution to change this whole system, to change this world now. Because all over the world, I see young people rising up. And as a senior, I look at it, I used to pray, Lord, let me be around for the revolution, please. you know, and I'm living through the revolution. I see y'all every day. I'm living through the revolution. He has answered my prayer. He has answered my prayer. I see the revolution because when we got young people like you and Ian and all of those other young people I see out there fighting back, that's the revolution. The thing we gotta hold on to is don't let it get to the point where again, like it did for us, where there were spies and all the other stuff. You understand? You know, I tell people I try not to make no enemies, but if I do have an enemy, I want to know what's your problem with me. I want to know what's your problem with me. Maybe we can sell it, but do not think you'll disrespect me. And I tell people that even now. I said, look, honey, don't make the mistake because there's Reverend in front of my name that you can do anything to me. You know, I respect you, but I demand respect from you also. So see, those are the things that I see now. So yes, I see real revolution. I'm looking at you right now, revolutionary. Yes, and some it don't mean that you got the gun or something. See, you there's Minister Malcolm said it. There's ways we're gonna fight this revolution that's gonna be different from see Cubans were fighting Cubans. First of all, here in America, we don't know we'll be fighting black people too. We black people started. Do you know who attacked the Black Panther Party more? Was black people. Was black people. Oh, look at them. They make it hard for everybody. They're just doing this. They're just doing it. Bunch of thugs. And we went call all kinds of things. My daddy was Baptist minister, and he got called names in the conference because I was his daughter. You know, you let your child be so and so and so. Well, of course, by that time he couldn't. I was gonna be whatever I wanted to be. Anyway, to the point that I left Baltimore and went to the Eastern Shore, just so, for my father's sake. So, but now this revolution, this is the truth. This is the revolution. When we got people like you that's gonna stand up and say the truth, and that's gonna help us fight, right? You're fighting the revolution. We got to get the word out. We got to get the truth out. We got to, we're going to fight on every hand all over the world. We got people fighting the revolution. So yeah, there are lots of revolution.
Wow. Oh, you always give me goosebumps. Um, you wanna I know we're like over time and I feel like I could
Oh,
talk to you for hours. But one thing I definitely want to talk to you about is East Palestine, Ohio. I've been there multiple times to bring U-Hauls of mutual aid. They're still taking baths in bottled water. They're still incredibly sick. People are getting cancer. It is so bad. And they're getting zero help from the government, which is why my friend and I have been bringing water, food, diapers, clothes, things like that,
mm-hmm.
through, thankfully, people's donations. Um, but it's seeing what's going on in East Palestine and the fact that a multi-billion-dollar corporation has taken over these people's lives and they're getting sick and they've lost their homes and they have no money and they're poor and everything like that. What what does that what effect does that have on you? What does that make you think when you see that that is going on in 2023?
Again, that is showing you why we're fighting a revolution. We're fighting against the big corporations oppressing. You know, look how they oppress that in the press. They don't try to get it out that
Yep.
these people are dying, that babies before they being born, where they like to talk about the right to life. That where you right to life for these people?
Yep.
Where you like right to life? But we have to get it out. We got to make it known to people. These are people dying, and big corporations are taking over. See, that's what the revolution gonna be for. That's what we're fighting against. Big the real haves against the have-nots. These people have lost everything they have, and they still being oppressed. So the lies is come to America and live peaches and cream. Well, we got to show that that's the biggest lie in the world in the first place. So, we have to fight. That has to be known. The news media has oppressed that so much. I was talking to
Absolutely.
Marion about that. I said, they not talking about right here in America, we got people dying every day from poison water. We got people dying every day from polluting of the air.
Hmm.
Where I live at, you can't drink the water. So if you can't drink the water, how do you bathe? Because
Right.
it certainly gets in your body. And that's what
Hmm.
people say. Oh, I buy water, and I do too. I said, but we have to take a bath. You have to cook with it,
Yep.
all sorts of things. So we had to, we're fighting a revolution that we have to fight this system. So continue to do what you're doing but try to get it out as much as possible. Get the news out that these are people that's dying. And by the way, you see again about the revolution, these ain't just one race of people, right? It's not just one race of people. It's, many people of many races dying unjustly because somebody want to make some money. You
Yeah,
understand? Well, we got to fight that.
absolutely. And
Let me
I
know
do have
if
an
there's
announcement.
something I can help. Let
I
me
do
know if
want
there's
to.
something I can do. Okay.
I did want to announce to my audience too, and I hope this is something you're cool with too. The last time I went to East Palestine, my friend and I and a resident and her 4-year-old son went to meet with the East Palestine EPA lead. And I recorded our 91-minute
Hmm.
conversation. So yeah, it's going to be exposed on prime time on Tuesday. And there's a
Yes.
lot of stuff on it that may finally get their declaration disaster after almost 8 months. So
Yes.
I'm really glad I did that. Thankfully, but there's some horrible things he said on that, so it needs to get out. So I'm super excited that everyone can hear that Tuesday. So yeah, that's exciting because that's what we have to do. We have to go up against the
Yes.
politicians and
Yes.
everything. Is I know you were a big Bernie supporter. Since they're talking about elections and everything, is there someone you're putting your support behind, or are you kind of just focusing on mutual aid and activism?
Well, who we gonna? No, not at this time. For president, no, no. I just told Ian I was listening to another station in actually I seen it on TV on a television show where Bernie was thinking about presidential, and I laughed. No, um, I think what we're gonna have to do is a lot like what people have done in other places. We need to try to single out or find a true person that we can support. But no, at this time, I don't see anybody that I would support. Um, no, no, I don't see. If right now, if I had to vote, I would just say, "Oh well, I'd vote for myself." Tell you the truth,
Yeah,
I'd do better.
everyone, you heard it. If there's no one you want to vote for, write in Reverend Annie Chambers.
Yeah, but I
That'd be
mean,
awesome. We might be
yeah,
able to get you on city council or something. That'd be awesome.
yeah.
Well,
But
is there
anyway,
anything
we just,
coming up that you want to promote?
um,
It's a website.
yeah, do the website.
Yeah, we
But we
do. We
got
do
a
a food giveaway every Wednesday, and then we're not going to stop us. So go to anniechambers.org, anniechambers.org, and find out more information. And you don't have to donate. You could just send us, stuff you have, extra cups, extra napkins, stuff like that. We'll take anything. And call us if this is happening in your community. We want to hear from you if this kind of same situations happening in your community. You want to build
yes,
solidarity network. So all the contact info is right there,
yes.
anniechambers.org.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
really, really we need help and we need support.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, um we even gotta find us a storage now.
Mm-hmm.
So, we gotta find somewhere to store stuff. But no matter what, we will continue to fight
Mm-hmm.
and continue to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to always feel free that they can get in contact with me, and I'll be, I'm available, and the fight and the struggle continue.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, I give
And
you
it
my
was good
word.
talking to you. It
I'll
was
be
good
reaching
talking
out
to
to
you.
Ian. I will get that petition started. Everyone watching, I
Okay.
expect you to sign it. I expect you to share it. We're going to get this rolling because we got to do this, not just for Reverend Annie, but also her neighbors and her community. This is unjust. We need to take a stand. So I'm going to get that out and I will be posting it on all social media. Reverend Annie, is there anything you want to leave the people with?
Yes. Continue to struggle, continue to fight. Revolution! Revolution! We must continue the revolution. We must fight. We're in a revolution, but we're going to win. We're going to win all over the world. Thank you.
Ah, you always make me cry. I lasted the whole time. Well, thank you so much, Reverend Annie. Thank you, Ian, for helping and setting this up. Um, I absolutely love you to pieces, and I thank you so much for all you have done for people, for me, for the community, and for history.
I love you. Thank you so much. I love the world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Take care. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you.